Imagine a woman who ruled the East, conquered Egypt, and forced the Roman emperor to march across the world just to stop her. This is the story of Septimia Zenobia, the rebel queen who dared to carve her own empire out of the dying embers of Roman authority.
In the 3rd century, the Roman Empire was not the invincible monolith we often imagine. It was a fractured, bleeding giant, plagued by civil wars, economic collapse, and constant invasions. Amidst this chaos, in the oasis city of Palmyra, a woman arose who would become Rome's most formidable nightmare.
Zenobia was born around 240 AD in Palmyra, a city located in modern-day Syria. At the time, Palmyra was a wealthy, multicultural trade hub, the literal bridge between the Roman West and the Persian East. Zenobia was not just a desert noble, she was a woman of immense intellect and education. She spoke Palmyrene, Greek, Egyptian, and Latin. She claimed descent from the legendary Cleopatra, and while historians debate the literal truth of that lineage, Zenobia certainly possessed the same political brilliance and iron will.
She was described by contemporaries as a woman of incredible beauty, with dark skin, pearly white teeth, and eyes that flashed with an almost divine fire. But she was no delicate flower of the court. Zenobia was known to ride horses like a soldier, hunt with the precision of a predator, and walk miles on foot alongside her troops.
Her rise to prominence began with Odaenathus, the ruler of Palmyra. At the time, the Roman Emperor Valerian had been captured and humiliated by the Persians, a shockwave that threatened to collapse Rome's eastern frontier. Odaenathus stepped into the vacuum.
He didn't just defend the border, he crushed the Persians and stabilized the region. For his loyalty, Rome granted him the title of Governor of the East. Palmyra was technically still part of the Roman Empire, but under Odaenathus and Zenobia, it began to function like a sovereign state.
Then, in 267 AD, the trajectory of history changed in an instant. Odaenathus and his eldest son were assassinated. Rumors swirled. Some said it was a family dispute. Others whispered that Rome, fearing Odaenathus's growing power, had him eliminated. Some even suggested Zenobia herself orchestrated the hit.
Regardless of who pulled the strings, Zenobia didn't hesitate. She stepped into the power vacuum as regent for her young son. But she wasn't interested in being a mere caretaker. She saw a Roman Empire that was rotting from within, and she saw an opportunity to build something better, something grander, a Palmyrene Empire.
Zenobia's first move was a masterstroke of geopolitical defiance. In 270 AD, while Rome was distracted by internal power struggles, she sent her generals into Egypt. This wasn't just a border skirmish. This was a strike at Rome's jugular. Egypt was the breadbasket of the empire.
Within months, Zenobia's forces had secured the Nile. She didn't stop there. Her armies marched north into Asia Minor, seizing control of modern-day Turkey. By the time the dust settled, Zenobia ruled a territory that stretched from the shores of the Mediterranean to the mountains of central Turkey.
In Palmyra, she established a court that rivaled Rome in its sophistication. She invited the greatest minds of the era, including the philosopher Longinus, to advise her. She promoted a policy of religious tolerance, allowing Christians, Jews, and pagans to coexist in a way that was nearly unheard of at the time. But the Roman lion was not dead, it was just sleeping. In 270 AD, a new emperor rose to power, Aurelian. He was a career soldier, a man of iron discipline who earned the nickname Hand on Sword. Aurelian was determined to reunite the fractured empire.
Aurelian took back the western provinces first, then turned his sights on the rebel queen in the east. He marched his legions across the difficult terrain of Asia Minor, retaking cities one by one. He offered Zenobia terms of surrender, but she responded with a letter of stinging defiance. The two forces met at the Battle of Imae, near Antioch. Zenobia's army was famous for its heavy cavalry, the cataphracts, men and horses encased in shimmering scale armor. They were the tanks of the ancient world. Aurelian, however, was a master tactician. He knew the cataphracts were nearly unstoppable in a head-on charge, but were prone to overheating and exhaustion. Aurelian ordered his lighter cavalry to feign a retreat. Once the Palmyrene cavalry was exhausted and scattered, Aurelian's men turned and slaughtered them. It was a devastating blow, but Zenobia didn't give up. She retreated to the city of Emesa for a second stand.
The Battle of Emesa was even bloodier. Again, the discipline of the Roman legions eventually broke the Palmyrene lines. Zenobia was forced to retreat across the desert to the walls of Palmyra itself. She believed the city's massive fortifications would protect her.
But the Persian help never arrived. Aurelian besieged the city, enduring the same heat and thirst as his enemies. He wrote in his letters that people in Rome were laughing at him for fighting a woman. He warned them that they had no idea what kind of woman Zenobia was.
As the siege dragged on and supplies dwindled, Zenobia realized the end was near. In a desperate move, she slipped out of the city on a dromedary, hoping to cross the Euphrates River and find help from the Persians. She almost made it. She was at the riverbank when a Roman scouting party intercepted her.
The Queen of the East was captured. When she was brought before Aurelian, the emperor asked why she had dared to revolt against Rome. Her reply was as sharp as ever. She told him, "I know you are an emperor because you win. The others were not." What happens next is where history and legend blur. In 274 AD, Aurelian returned to Rome to celebrate his triumph. According to the Roman historians, Zenobia was paraded through the streets in golden chains, so heavy that she could barely walk. But the mystery deepens. Unlike most captured rebels, Zenobia wasn't executed. Some accounts say Aurelian granted her a villa in Tibur near Rome. There, the story goes, she lived out her days as a Roman matron, marrying a senator. Other, darker accounts suggest she died shortly after her capture, either from illness or a hunger strike, refusing to live as a trophy.
Regardless of her end, Zenobia's legacy lived on. She became a symbol of resistance against imperial overreach. For centuries, she has been a hero to those in the Middle East, a reminder of a time when a Syrian city was the center of the civilized world.
Her defiance forced Rome to change. Aurelian's victory was the beginning of the end for the old Roman style of rule. He had to adopt many of the Eastern administrative styles and religious symbols that Zenobia herself had championed.
Palmyra was eventually destroyed in later conflicts, its beautiful colonnades and temples reduced to ruins. But the name Zenobia remains etched in the collective memory of history. She was the rebel empress.
If you want to discover more hidden stories and mysteries from our ancient past, subscribe now.